BYU manhandled Colorado in the Alamo. Why did I say Alamo? Like it's some type of defect or something growing on your face. You should all make fun of me. The Alamo Bowl. 36-14. It was Deion's last game with his sons and his adopted son, Travis Hunter. And it was crazy. Just real quick, welcome to the channel. If you like talking college football, I know I got my Clemson stuff around me, but I talk college football as well as obviously my team. If you like supporting independent media, someone that's just out there doing their thing, talking college football, I hope you'll subscribe. It is free. I appreciate it. So BYU and Colorado, they're both in the Big 12. They both had a chance to make it to the Big 12 championship, and that road would have led to the college football playoff. But some things happened for both teams. BYU at one time was ranked, number 7 in the country, number 6 somewhere in there. I even talked about them later on in the season. And some of the concerns that I had ended up kind of biting them a little later on. But Kalani Sitake is a good coach. The guy is leading that team and doing a really good job. I was really impressed with some of the things they did this season, but I just needed to see more. And unfortunately, that's what ended up costing them in some of those ball games. You were just hoping that if they were really going to make a run at the college football playoff, they were going to have to fix a couple of things. And I think most Cougar fans saw that, but it was still a really good season. I mean, BYU finishes 11-2. Colorado, 9-4. Remember, just 2 years ago, they only won one ball game. So credit Coach Sanders and his team winning 9 ball games this year and doing what they did. I don't want to take away from them. But I would tell you this, no one saw this beatdown coming. Now, if my memory serves me correct, Colorado was actually the favorite. They were a slight favorite in this game over their conference foe. And the truth is, a lot of people probably thought that Colorado was going to come in with the Heisman Trophy winner, with the quarterback being so projected to be a high selection in the draft. My mind totally went blank. If my face starts drooping, somebody tell my wife I'm up here, falling out on the floor. Shouldn't joke about that, but you know what I mean. I just went totally blank there. But you have Shedeur Sanders, everybody salivating over him. And you have Travis Hunter, and the guy's a freak. So, coming into this game, a lot of people probably thought that Colorado was going to beat BYU. And that there would be a potential that what BYU ended up doing to Colorado, more would have probably thought that Colorado would have done that to the Cougars. But it was totally different. I watched a lot of this game. I'm going to tell you, I didn't get to see all of it, but I watched a lot of it. And one of the things that I can tell you is that Colorado could not believe that BYU's defense was not, wait for it, scared of them. You see so many teams go up against another team whose offense has all of these really well-known players on it. They have a Heisman Trophy guy who plays both ways. They have a quarterback who's projected to be the number 1 or number 2 pick in the NFL draft, according to whoever you're listening to. And most people freeze up and they're like, listen, if we can just kind of control them, maybe if we can control them, maybe we can stay in this game. BYU went, you know what? If you play not to lose, you lose. You cannot be afraid to do that at this level of football. If you were in middle school football, okay, but not this level of football. And I'm telling you, one of the things I immediately noticed is that Colorado was overwhelmed by BYU's just pinning their ears back, running through the line. And I'm telling you, they just sacked Shedeur Sanders. I watched the play where Colorado had the ball inside the 7-yard line. It was somewhere in there. BYU sent pressure, as they pretty much did all night. Shedeur started running backwards, tried to save himself, proceeded to stumble farther back, and he still was trying to get away, and they lost a ton of yardage on that play. I want to say they ended up missing a field goal. But BYU came in and played them like a man. LJ Martin had a pretty good game, 17 carries, 93 yards. The defense limited Shedeur Sanders to only 208 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Travis Hunter had 4 receptions, 106 yards, and a touchdown. Now, Retzloff didn't have a bad game, but when you see 36-14, you would have thought that the guy may have passed for 300-plus yards. No, he was 12 of 21, 151 yards. He actually struggled a bit. 2 interceptions. But he led his team to victory. And I think what really shocked everyone is when Parker Kingston had his 64-yard punt return. And that really took a stab at Colorado. And it led to, them being, and a field goal later happened, went on for BYU. BYU was up 20-0 at the half. And Deion was asked about it, and Deion was like, look, discipline. We need to have more discipline. Just go over some quick stats, team stats, that is. BYU had 22 first downs to Colorado's 9. That's crazy. Listen, here's another lopsided one. Third down efficiency. BYU was 8 of 14 on third down. A little over 50% there. Colorado 3 of 9, 33% conversion rate. That's terrible. The Cougars had 331 total yards, 151 in the air, 180 on the ground. Colorado, this team that's had a bunch of yardage, it's a highlight reel this entire season, managed 210 total yards, 208 in the air, and listen to this, BYU held them to 2 rushing yards. Now, Colorado had 8 penalties for 65 yards, but good grief, BYU, who won by 22 points, had 9 penalties for 80 yards. They actually lost the turnover battle. They turned over the ball 3 times. Colorado turned it over twice. Here's another big win for BYU. They had the ball 35 minutes and 56 seconds to Colorado's 24 minutes and 4 seconds. Again, congratulations to both teams to getting to this point, because for getting to this point, but I'm telling you, Colorado, Deion did a really good job of getting them here. 9 wins. You're 2 years removed from, 1-11 or something like that. But I want to talk about this, and I noticed this in the game. There's a lot of people who's pretty upset about the announcers in the in this game. That ESPN was extra biased in favor of Colorado. And first, this has happened with them, with certain teams. If they feel like that there's a gravy train to jump on and grab viewership, that part of that is just business, folks. I don't always like it. You don't always like it. I get it. But this is one of the reasons that last year I started getting turned off by the whole Colorado Buffalo thing. People called me out on it and said this, that, and the other, and I was like, just wait. And they fell apart like I thought they would last year. This year, they didn't talk as much, and look what they did. They got 9 wins. But they were shoved down our throats. And last night, here they were. Down 33-7, and ESPN is still kind of, their announcers are still kind of fawning over them. I saw an article where it pointed out some of the people losing their mind over how ESPN was, their announcers were still just so blown away by Shedeur Sanders, a touchdown that he threw, and they're down. I mean, they're getting the crap beat out of them. And I'm going to quote this guy. The way the announcer gushed over Shedeur's garbage time touchdown, you would have thought it was the game winner in a natty. Most one-sided commentary I've ever heard. Another one says, BYU deserved better. They showed how real they are. Credit to the guys. Other people called this embarrassing. And folks, I'm telling you, I get it. I live here in the South. And credit the SEC. The SEC has done some really, really good things. I mean, honestly, they're the SEC. But I am telling you, the vast majority of the SEC is not that good of a football team. And my team plays in the ACC, which is pure garbage. So I'm not going to be a hypocrite here and overlook that. The vast majority of the ACC is quite terrible. But let me tell you this. You live here in the South, Cougar fans, and all you hear is about the SEC. Now, we don't want to name out teams like, I don't know, Mississippi State, who could barely win a game. They don't really want to talk about, South Carolina. They're the feathered foe. They're the arch rivals of my team. This is a unicorn year for them. Normally they're bad. And I've credited them with being, in fact, I felt like they should have made the college football playoff. That's how unbiased I try to be, even though I'm far from a Gamecock fan. Don't like those guys. But this is a unicorn year for them. Normally they're bad. Vanderbilt's laughable. Kentucky, terrible. Florida embarrassed itself and then saved their coach's job. LSU was a massive letdown. And you have to live here in the South and hear about the SEC when what they should say is we're talking about Georgia and in most years Alabama up until recently. Now you have Texas who just joined and they're doing well. Ole Miss was looking like they were going to do great. They ended up blowing it. And us non-SEC fans living in the South, we have to hear this all the time. And you got a taste of that last night with Colorado. BYU could have been up 90 points, and they're still going to talk about Shedeur, Shiloh, Travis Hunter, and Deion Sanders. And you're sitting there going, y'all, have you looked at the scoreboard? That's their money cow. That's their viewership. People are going to tune in to watch this team, their quarterback, throw for 208 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions, and rush for 2 yards. And they're going to talk about them like they're 2001 Miami. They're the 2018 Clemson Tigers who beat Alabama by 4 touchdowns in the national championship. They're the 95 Nebraska team. And you're just sitting there going, what? So I get it. But congrats to BYU. Congrats on winning this game and congrats on the season. It'll be interesting to see. I haven't really I really haven't dove into who's coming back for you guys, but it'll be interesting to see what you do. If you're new here, I hope you will drop a line in here and say hello. And if you haven't subscribed, I hope you will subscribe. It is free. Let's get in here. At this rate, I'm going to need to invite the professor over for dinner. My Miss Debbie thinks I have a new friend. Happy Sunday. Good to see you, my friend, Big John. Thanks for supporting the channel. BYU was on a mission. Colorado is a joke. ESPN coverage was pathetic. CU never played a real team. The way Colorado gets hyped over Prime is finally exposed. Good to see you, Daisy. Folks, drop a line in here. Say hello. I'll let you go. Catch you later. As always, go Tigers.